Hi, everybody. Welcome back to It's Your Life by the Grace of God. Um, as you know, I'm doing the series on the Proverbs 31 woman, the character of a noble wife. And so far, we are on, I've been going in stages. So I've been every three verses. I've been doing every three verses. So right now the last week I did was 13 and 15, and now we're on 16 through 18. So that's where we're at now. I'm just gonna jump in, okay? And so I'm just gonna start reading the verse because if anything, I want you to be able to read the Bible. I want you to be able to read some verses because it while you try to read a certain book or try to get into the a habit of what to read. This way you're already getting more or less the sense of wanting to read. Okay, so this is going to start you off. So then later on, if you want to jump into a different book, you can do that. And or you could start from in the beginning if you want, or you could start in the middle, or you could start in Revelations. But at least now you'll know that what you're reading has a story behind it, has a meaning behind it, and not anything and everything you read is uh of a word that's condemning you, or saying that, or you're in trouble because you did this, or reading something that it just wasn't meant for you. And I think I had mentioned that in the beginning. And at least this way you're getting into the habit of reading verses from the Bible. And I thought this was a great, place to start because there are other ones that I do want to get into. I mean, Deuteronomy, uh, I forgot the number of that one, but it's very long. It's way longer than this one. That one would be a challenge, and other ones as well. But for now, I haven't even really read through the Psalms, and I have yet to read through those. So, but to start off, I thought this was a good place to start. Okay, so we are at uh okay, well, let me just read you from the New King James Version, and it's Proverbs 16:31, verse 16. Okay, so it starts. She considers a field and buys it. From her profits she plants a vineyard. She girds herself with strength and strengthens her arms. 18. She perceives that her merchandise is good and her lamp does not go out by night. Okay, so that was the New King James Version. Now, the next one is the NIV, the New International Version. She considers a field and buys it. Out of her earnings, she plants a vineyard. She sets about her work vigorously. Her arms are strong for her task. She sees that her trading is profitable and her lamp does not go out at night. Okay, now the New Living Translation. She goes out to inspect a field and buys it. With her earnings, she plants a vineyard. She is energetic and strong and a hard worker. She watches for bargains. Her lights burn late into the night. So you see there, you can kind of like some words are different. You could tell, just by reading them. The only ones that really are the same is she considers a field and buys it. Those are all the same. Her profits out of her earnings. The just two from the NIV and the New King James. Those are the only two that are different. She plants a vineyard. That's all the same. 17, she girds herself with strength and strengthens her arms. That's the New King James Version. The NIV, she sets about her work vigorously. Her arms are strong for her task. Then the New Living Translation, she is energetic and strong, a hard worker. And it doesn't really say much in the New Living Translation. I don't like that one that much. But in the NIV and the King James Version, I like it because it tells me this girl worked out, okay? She did something because obviously she needed to be doing all those things and getting up early and staying up late and going to places far away to fetch whatever she had to do to come back and and tell her and take care of her household and the housemaids and everything that entailed. I'm pretty sure she had little kids running around everywhere and trying to take care of them too. That girl had to be like the Energizer Bunny. She had to be on her toes all the time. She was active. And when you're active, it's like you really have to take care of yourself. So this lady somehow, some way, she worked out. Because it says that she strengthened her arms. And I don't know about the gladiator days or whatever, or how far back this went, but I'm pretty sure back in the day they had their ways of weightlifting and, you saw how the guys were built. Again, I'm always going back to the Ten Commandments. Like, awesome. Great build all the time, Yul Brynner, woohoo! Charlton Heston, yay! Anyway, but they were really built. I mean, they had to be in order to fight lions. Jeez, man. Wow, even the thought of it. Anyway, but I'm pretty sure the women back in the days, said, hey, we gotta look good ourselves, So I'm pretty sure they took in some consideration of what to do. I don't know, maybe they carried some around, weightlifted with pails of dirt. I don't know, or use some kind of coconuts or something like for dumbbells. I don't know, but they kept themselves in shape. They kept themselves up with to keep themselves strengthened with energy to do what they had to do. So I like that. These girls worked out back then too. It's no different than what we do today. What I mean? The only difference is that, the decades or different time, whatever you want to call it. I forgot what that is. But yeah, the time difference. But other than that, it's still the same, So that's what I liked about that part a lot. So that's how I saw these women back in those days. They took the time to work out. Yeah, they didn't have Planet Fitness. Yeah. I don't know what, like I said, I don't know what they had, but they took the time to do it. The other part that I like was 18. She perceives that her merchandise is good. The NIV, she sees that her trading is profitable. The New Translation, she watches for bargains. So all those were all different. And I like that because, well, the New Translation, she watches for bargains. I mean, a lot of women these days, we all do that. Men, guys, we all do that. But in the NIV, she talks about that her trading is profitable. That means that whatever she was doing, she was selling. And in the Living Translation, excuse me, I was just trying to get over a cold. It doesn't talk about that. It just says that she watches out for bargains. It doesn't say that she's selling anything. In the New King James Version, again, her earnings, she perceives that her merchandise is good. Again, that's whatever it is that she's making to sell, that it's good and that it's profitable, and that she's going to make good at the end, whatever she made or is doing. You had to remember she was doing something with with wool and with flax, and she was making things like table linens and bedspreads and stuff like that. But in this one, she buys a vineyard. That means that's a lot of, there had to be a big piece of land, because when you're planting a vineyard or cultivating a vineyard, that's a lot. That's a lot of, I mean, I remember doing that. Me and my husband, we planted a miniature vineyard in our backyard. And it was so cute because it came up like we even had, well, it wasn't really that we started it. It was the people who owned the house before us. They had did it. And they had their grapes like an arch, going like this all the way to the back to the alley. And I was shocked. I was like, grapes are being actually grown back here. And I remember that. And although we didn't try to make any wine or anything like that, but we did try to water everything, and it was really, the grapes were sweet. I have to admit, they were good. And I was like, well, can you imagine? I mean, that was just a little space. Can you imagine her having a whole lot of land that she had to do this, and take care of all these grapes so she can make wine? So she was making wine on top of that, on top of everything else that she was doing. So I found that to be pretty interesting. And you need help to do that. When you're planting a vineyard, you have to pick the grapes, and then I don't know. I keep on thinking about Lucia Ball stomping on the grapes with her feet. That image never goes out of my mind when I think about a vineyard or making wine. No. Anyway, but that to me was pretty cool. So the other thing that got to me too was, and her lamp does not go out at night. All those are the same. Her lamp does not go out at night on the NIV, the King James, and the New Living Translation says her lights burn late into the night. And you have to remember, because her lights, in the other one, she got up before dawn, or by the break of dawn. So her what do you call it? Her lights had to eventually go out. I mean, she eventually had to get some sleep because she got up before dawn. So I thought about that. Well, how late did she, what do you mean she didn't, never, her lamp never went out at night. But then it dawned on me, oh, I get it. When the nighttime came, she didn't, turn out, or blow out her lamp. She kept it on going like we do, like by the time evening comes, at a certain point, I guess, we have our lights on, and at a certain point we shut it off and go to bed. Well, hers kept on, she kept her lamp going on, maybe, I don't know, maybe an hour, maybe 2 hours, maybe 3 hours. But she needed some sleep, so she couldn't have it on, her lamp going that long. I mean, eventually she had to get some sleep because she had to get up, and she got up before the break of dawn. So I don't know, maybe she squeezed in, 4 or 5 hours, 6 hours at least. She didn't get that much sleep, obviously. So that's what I saw also in there. But the vineyard was the one that got to me. So when it came to picking out the word in the scripture that jumped out at me, again, was the vineyard. And what I found out about the vineyard was pretty interesting, because I found out that a vineyard, again, it is a plantation of grapes, of grapevines, typically producing wine. But then there was another one, another definition, and it was a sphere of action or labor especially on a high spiritual plane, which I really don't understand. What does that mean? So I'm going to have to look more into that, because a sphere of action. Something had to go on during making that vineyard. There's something about the vineyard that goes around, an action that you got to do, the laboring that it takes. I don't know. I don't know. I don't get it. I see. That's what I mean. Some things you won't understand this unless you dig deep, unless you go to some commentary from this, to find out what were they trying to say. And there are loads of different commentaries on all the books, and from different people, what they think the scripture's saying to them. But yeah, and that, because it does talk about Matthew 1:21, Matthew chapter 20 verse 1, and it was about the story about the dinar, the not the dinar, a denarius, and I guess it was some kind of coin or a payment that they gave you um after you did a certain job. A denarius, I think that's how it's pronounced. I'm not really sure, but anyway, it goes on that the landowner had a vineyard, and he hired a person and said, if you want to come and work a day in my vineyard for a denarius. And the guy said, yeah, sure. I guess a denarius meant a certain amount profitable money that they can use in those days. They were like, yeah, I'll work for that. Sure. So he did that. He worked. And then it goes on. An hour later, 2 hours later, somebody else keeps coming. And I guess at the 11th hour, the last person that came, he also said, if you want to work in my vineyard for a denarius. And the guy said, yeah. You go, okay, go ahead. And then at the end of the day, he finally pays everybody who came a denarius. And then the guys in the beginning who were there all day, and you can read it for yourself. It's chapter Matthew 20, what do you call it, the story. And they complained, the first guys that were there, they were laboring under the sun, it's hot, and they're doing all this work. And they go, wait a minute, shouldn't we be getting more? We've been here all day. Why are you giving him? He's only been here in 1 hour. Why are you giving him a denarius and you're giving us the same? You should be giving us like more. And he said, well, I asked you in the beginning if you want to work the day for a denarius. He wasn't, lying to them. He wasn't trying to take advantage of them. He was being honest. He was doing what he was told, what he told them. He wasn't being, I can get them to do this job for me and watch what I'm going to pull. That wasn't his thinking. That's just the way it came out. And it goes on and on and on. And then it talks about the first will be last and the last will be first. So, you have to look into that. But again, it's like a spiritual thing. So I'm not really connecting both as my throat is dry, as a spiritual connection, but I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to try to see if I could find some other chapters or something else that might have the vineyard word, and to see if that would give me some more insight of what it's trying to say. Okay, but for the most part, yeah, like I said, and it goes for the same thing for a guy. I mean, you have to consider what you're doing. You got to consider, you got to work with your hands. You got to toil. You got to, and if you want to make something profitable, you got to make sure whatever you're doing is good. Bottom line, got to make sure it's legit, and it's not going to fall apart or something, or taste bad or whatever down the line. Okay. And yeah, and stay up, Don't call it a night so quick, just because it's nighttime, and stop watching those reruns. Read a book, do something. Learn something. Because that's the only way, guys. That's the only way you're going to learn how to develop a skill. And I'm not trying to be mean, but I like watching TV shows too and things like that. But if you're constantly just watching somebody else's life on TV, you're never going to make your own. Okay? So think about it, reread the scriptures, and I will catch you on the next 3 verses. Okay? So have a good night, be blessed, and see you later.